How to overcome your fear of rejection. So I can remember back in 2021, I was in my private therapy journey, if you will, and I remember having an idea. To raise my prices. So at the time I was charging, it's probably like $95 a session, okay? So just under $100. And I remember thinking, you know what? Let's see if I can make some more money. I've been doing this for a while. I feel like I'm pretty good at it. So let's see what happens if I increase my price. So I decided to increase it to $125. So I changed all my websites and everything so that the price could reflect. And I remember getting my first phone call. I was like, all right, I have a chance to really pitch this idea, pitch this new price, and see if I can get someone on the phone. So the guy gives me a call and he says, hey, I'm struggling with addictions. I have a gambling problem. And from your profile, it looks like you'd be the right one to help me. So I remember talking to him and telling him, who I am, what I do, and how I would help him. And then he asks me, well, how much is the price? And I remember telling him anxiously, like, it's 125. And then I didn't hear anything. I was like, hello? And come to find out, this guy just hung up on me. I mean, by far, it's funny now, but at the time, it was very embarrassing. At the time, I was like, Jesus, did I make the right choice? Maybe I should put my prices back down to 95. So probably about a few days, I remember I was just feeling down. I was kind of in the dumps, if you will, really questioning what my self-worth was. So I remember, you know what? Something like this is bound to happen. Let me keep my prices the same and see if I can get the next person to say yes. So about a week goes by, someone else gives me a call. And they're talking to me, they're telling me all the things that they're going through. And I remember telling them the same thing, right? Telling them, hey, this is how I can help. This is what I've done in the past with other clients. And telling them, hey, I think we'll be a good fit. So it comes down to the price. Coach, how much does it cost to work with you? I tell them it's $125. And they said, that's too much. I'm gonna keep looking. And they hung up. And I was like, dang, like I thought they would have said yes. I know other people are charging a lot more than me. So why is no one saying yes to what I have to offer? All these things were going through my mind. So then I said, you know what? I'm gonna give it another shot. And I remember talking to the next client, telling them the same thing. And I remember them saying, Coach, what's the price? And I said, hey, it's $125. And I remember them saying, great, when can I start? When that happened, I had an epiphany. And the epiphany was that sometimes the customers are not right for you. It's not the other way around, right? Sometimes the customer is just not the right fit. It's not that you're wrong, right? It's not that you did anything bad, but sometimes these clients, whoever your clients or whoever the person you're asking, right? So this could be you asking someone for a date. They may not be the right fit for you. Has nothing to do with you. But we want to make sure that we don't take on that burden. We want to make sure we don't over-identify with, like, let's say this failure, if you will, right? Because the moment we do, who we are starts to be questioned. And it starts to be questioned by the most important person, which is you. So in this podcast, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how to overcome your fear of rejection. This is a great podcast, honestly, for anybody, but especially those people that are in sales. People that are entrepreneurs, or someone that's looking to start dating again, but they're afraid to go out and make that first, let's say, contact, if you will. This podcast is really for any and everybody because to a degree, we're all in sales. So before you check out point number 1, make sure you subscribe to this podcast. So the first main point to helping you to overcome your fear of rejection is to change what you see success as. I can remember going down the path of Facebook ads with my Facebook ads coach. And I remember the first edition that we did it, the ads that I thought would have just knocked it out of the park completely bombed. And I mean, it bombed really bad. I mean, we spent a lot of money into these ads just to test it and see what works. And a lot of it didn't work. But what we realized was that there was this one specific ad, there's this one specific image that did way better than the rest. And what me and him decided to do was to take that ad and just change a few things on it and see what would happen if we threw it out in the market, right? You could think of it as kind of like you're going fishing and you have this bait and you throw it in the water and you're sitting and nothing's happening. So you decide, you know what? Let me try a different bait. So put on a different piece of bait, throw it in the water, And maybe now you're getting some nibbles. Maybe now you actually get a catch. Now we know that there's something to be said about this bait that I'm throwing out there. It's the same thing with these Facebook ads. What we wanted to do was see what bait, what hooks would people like, what people bite on if we threw them out there, right? And as we started to refine and get better and better and better at seeing what people love, we started to increase the conversion rates. So the amount of people that said yes to our offer. Now, to give you some context, when you do a lead magnet on Facebook or Instagram, typically you want to see about 15% conversion rate. That's typically determined like okay or average, if you will. Me and him, we kept refining, retooling this Facebook ad, and we was actually able to get our Facebook ad to convert at 35%. So more than double what the average rate was. But we were only able to do that because we kept refining and retooling this Facebook ad. Because at the beginning, guys, I probably had about 20 different ads. And from those ads, we had so many different combinations of words on the bottom of those ads that eventually it was probably about 200 different variations. And out of those 200 variations, we found one that worked. Why am I telling you this? Well, I'm telling you this because, again, you need to change what you see success as. When you're approaching whether it's a future partner, so let's say you're at a club or a bar, or let's say you're on Bumble or Hinge or whatever the new dating app is, you want to ask yourself, how is it that I'm going to approach these women, these guys, or whoever, and see how that approach works? Maybe you find your approach isn't conducive. Maybe you need to change up what you're saying, right? Not change who you are, but change your approach, right? That's something that you should probably look into. If you're doing sales, right? So if you're trying to sell life insurance, if you're trying to sell roofs, if you're trying to sell, whatever it may be, you need to ask yourself, what is it that I'm saying at the beginning? And then being able to test it out and keep track of that data. Because if you have 5 different variations of how you're opening that statement, right? Opening that conversation. And if you find that maybe 2 out of the 5 are working, I'll tell you to scratch the other 3 and let's work on the 2. And what you'll start to do is you start to adjust those 2 just a little bit to see if you can get it better and better and better. And then eventually what you start to see is that you start to increase your close rate. And that is essentially the goal that you want to accomplish at the end of the day. But to do that, to get there, you have to bring your focus from the outcome and focus on the process. What is the first step of this, let's say, offer that you're making, right? The offer that's getting rejected, if you will. What's the first step of that offer? And can you go step by step, trying to just systematically improve that offer, if you will, just little by little, one by one? This is what I mean by changing what you see success as. Because now when I do Facebook ads, now when I make offers, I'm asking myself, how do I just simply get better? What is it that I'm doing now? What are the results? And what is it that I need to change? And then we just keep doing it over and over and over again. And your conversion rate, it would definitely increase. So that's what you want to do. And that's how you're going to overcome your fear of failure. You have to change what you see success as today, right? What we are going to be successful today is going to lead to the success that we're going to have a year from now, 10 years from now, if you want to look at it that far. But are you willing to put in that work? Are you willing to go through the trash, to go through the mud, go through the yuck in order to get to this place that you're trying to get to? If the answer is yes, you'll do the work. But if you're not willing to do it, then you should probably find something else. Maybe a safer route, right? And there's nothing wrong with that if you want to live a life that's safe, comfortable, right? Things like that. But if you want more for yourself, you're going to have to push yourself. And it starts by being obsessive about the small things, being obsessive about each and every step of this process, of this offer, of this system that you're working on. Point number 2 to help you to overcome your fear of rejection is to have an ironclad sense of self. When you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror, who do you see? Who do you truly see when you get down to your core? Who you are at your core will always be there, no matter what people say or no matter what actions happen, no matter what things or situations you find yourself in. So you may find yourself having a week where you're just striking out, just failure after failure, no after no. But if you look at yourself and you're still able to see a hard worker, someone that is persistent, someone that is able to be confident even when things are not going well, you'll be able to wake up the next day and swing at that plate, swing at the bat one more time. And when you do that, you'll find yourself having some of those base hits and eventually some of those grand slams that you're looking for. But right now, if you're not having it, just know that your failures, just know that the outcomes, just know that people's opinions, they do not change who you are, because who you are today is the same person you were yesterday. It's the same person that you're going to be in the future. And what I mean by that, it's very important that I stress what I mean by that. I don't mean that from a skill set perspective. What I mean from that is from a mindfulness perspective. You, the person that's listening to this podcast, that part of you that's able to sit back and notice everything always exists. It's always there. It's essentially like your soul. Your soul is the same soul that was there 5 years ago. It's going to be the same soul that's there, 10, 20, 50 years, and honestly past when you die, right? Because your soul is a forever thing, if you will, right? It's an eternity. That part of you never changes. There's nothing you can do. But how you see yourself, that right there, you need to be cautious of, because the last thing you want to do is allow someone's nose to inflict or to, let's say, poison how you see yourself. That's why I was able to say or receive a no from those first two guys, right? When I called them or they called me and I said, hey, my price is $125. They were able to say no and I was able to keep going. Now, part of the story that I didn't share was actually that one day I decided to double my prices. So instead of $125, I started charging $250. And guess what? People were still saying yes. So it's like, what? Like, if I were to stop when someone told me $125 was too much, I would have never gotten to the point where I'm able to charge $250 for a session. Imagine how my life changed. Imagine how your life would change. Think about this, guys. Do not let, I can't say this enough, do not let someone else's nose be your nose, right? Sometimes people do not see the value in front of them simply because of the things that they've witnessed in their past, the things that they've gone through. Trust me, some of my clients, hey, they value mental health. They value changing their life. They value themselves, to be honest. And then there's some people out there, they just, excuse my French, don't give a damn. And as a result, they spend that same money on, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be whatever, right? So it just depends on the client. It depends on them, right? But at the end of the day, the one thing that is constant, the one thing that is forever, it is you. So have a good idea of who you are. And I'll leave it at this. Start to fall in love and to accept all of you, even the parts that are imperfect, even the parts of you that you have insecurities about. Because when you can love that part of you, it makes it very easy for you to have confidence. So start to practice self-acceptance. Be able to speak to yourself the way that you speak to a little kid. Speak to yourself the way that you would speak to a loved one. Remember, self-acceptance is being able to value and love all of you. Not just the shiny parts, not just the good parts, and definitely not the successful parts, right? So that is point number 2. Point number 3, to help you to overcome your fear of rejections, is for you to remember your intentions. Your intentions when you're going out to ask someone on a date, ask someone for a sale, whatever it is, your intentions is to help make that person's life better. It's not about your life. It's not about your pockets. It's not about your own pleasures. But you should know that the thing that you're offering to this person is an opportunity. And it's an opportunity, honestly, of a lifetime. How many people can say that they're married to you, that they have a kid by you, that they are in a relationship with you? Not too many other people can say that. How many people are going to take you up on your $10,000 coaching program, right? That coaching program that's going to change their life. Not too many people, right? That's the thing, guys. Like, your intentions is to serve. Your intentions is to make people's lives better. It's not about you. Never has been, and it never will be. And even that makes it easy for you to let go of yourself. Sometimes we make ourselves more bigger, more important than we need to. when it comes to helping people, which making offers is all about, selling is all about, right? That's all about helping people. When you're helping people, it has nothing to do with you. You're just simply trying to guide them through a process to make the best decision for their life, their business, their career, or whatever it is. That's what selling is. So if selling is all about helping people, wouldn't you be in the wrong if you refused to give someone help? If you refuse to give someone a service or a product that would change their entire life? I would feel pretty crummy if I didn't do that, which is why I sell to people, which is why I tell people like, hey, you need to be a part of my community. You need to be a part of my email news list, if you will, right? You need to subscribe to my channel. Side note, you should be subscribed to this channel right now because it would definitely change your life. So remember your intentions when you're out there selling. If your intentions are good and pure, it'll help you to see that what you're selling is an opportunity and it's not a cost to them. You're not taking anything from them. You're not inflicting harm or damage upon one other person, right? You're trying to help them change their life. And it's your responsibility. If you know your product is good, it is your responsibility to give it to them. Main point number 4, the last point, and before I give it, thanks for making it this far to this podcast episode. I really appreciate it. And if you made it this far to this episode, there's a good chance you're getting a lot of value from this. So if you're getting a lot of value from this, why not be subscribed to this channel? So go ahead and hit the subscribe button to this channel so you can stay getting information like this. So with that being said, the last and 4th point into how to overcome your fear of rejection is to simply get rejected again and again and again. Guys, there's this great book. It's called Go for No. Okay, Go for No. I advise you guys to check it out. Now, I read the synopsis on this book. I haven't done a deep dive on it, but I love the idea of it. I love the synopsis and the things that they talk about in this book. It talks about how one guy was going through a neighborhood and through parks and all that stuff, just going through a city. And he kept asking people, random people, a question. He kept asking them if they could take a picture of him kicking a soccer ball. And that's a very odd and strange request, especially coming from a stranger. And what he started to realize is that people just kept saying no and no and no. But he realized that he didn't burst into flames, right? Like he wasn't, I guess, like in danger or anything like that. He wasn't in harm or hurt by these no's, right? He wasn't hurt physically, if you will. And what he started to realize is that he was able to change his approach just a little bit each and every time, helping him get better at his offer, his sale, if you will. So eventually, he found a woman in a park and she actually said yes, and she took a picture of him kicking a soccer ball. Here's the thing I want to ask you guys with this. If you knew to, let's say, sell your $10,000 coaching program, if you knew that you had to go through 99 no's to get to that first yes, would you then get those no's? Would you then start to sell? Would you then move really, really fast through this process? I think so. If you knew you had to go through 25 bad dates, right? And I won't even say bad dates, but let's just say dates that just didn't work out in your favor, right? There was no second date. If you knew you had to get through 25 dates to get to the love of your life, would you do that? I think the answer would be yes. And that's what it's like. Going for no, getting rejected again and again and again. It really is one of those things that help you to build a muscle to not take these no's personal. It helps you to become more used to this feeling of being told no. Because I think what's happening to a lot of people is that they're taking yes for granted. People assume that because you ask for something, people should just automatically say yes. And that's not how the world works. Your no's are just as powerful as your yeses. And you're not always going to be guaranteed a yes when you make an offer. But one thing I can guarantee is that if you don't make an offer, if you do not approach someone and try to make a sale, you will always receive a no. So give yourself a chance. There's a saying of just being in the arena, right? Get on the field, get on the court, right? Give yourself a chance to score, to make something happen. And that's what going for no is all about. And that's what I mean by just getting rejected again and again and again. You start to realize that it's actually not about you. It's all about them and what they perceive as valuable, what they perceive as an opportunity. If they can't see it, that's on them. And this kind of goes to this cliche saying, the beauty really is within the eye of the beholder. So with that being said, I'm gonna go back over these 4 main points of how to overcome your fear of failure. So the first one is to change what you see success as, okay? So when you're going through that process, instead of thinking about the outcome, let's think about the first step. How can you make the first step, the first part of your approach, ironclad? How do you make it so secure? How do you make it the best first step available that it sets you up for the second step, right? The second main point was to have an ironclad sense of self. Who you are at your core is you. And that part of you, it will forever be there, right? And what I'm talking about is your soul. Like who you are versus what you think or what happens to you or the outcomes, totally different things. And I don't want you guys to over-identify with that. Point number 3, remember what your intentions are, which is to serve. If you have a life-changing opportunity for someone, it is your job. You are required to sell this thing to them because you know it will change their life. And then number 4, the last point, just simply get rejected again and again and again. That's a muscle. That is a skill that you just can't read about. And I know I gave a book, Go for No, but you have to apply these things that I'm talking about in this podcast, but also in that book as well. So just get rejected again and again and again to see that it is actually okay to be rejected. So with that being said, this is Coach Wells. I appreciate you making it to this podcast. All right, thanks. All right, bye-bye.